gas prices do be hitting on, my favorite
I'm
holiday.
just short in my fuel tank.
What? Just short in your fuel tank? All right, so let's talk about the QB carousel, because it has been a very wild week for QBs in the NFL free agency. We've had Aaron Rodgers staying with the Packers. We had Russell Wilson getting traded to the Broncos. We had Matt Ryan just recently getting traded to Indiana. We still don't know where Garoppolo is going to go, if he's going to go to anywhere at all. Baker Mayfield's possibly on the move. We had Tom Brady coming back.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Why? We had Carson Wentz going to the Commanders, which is not good for any parties involved.
You know who this motherfucker look like, low-key? Look!
And if I'm missing some,
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota, that's another one. Jameis Winston going back to the Saints,
Look at this. This is the greatest play I've ever seen in my life. Look at him. Breaks through the pocket, keeps his balance, fakes a pitch to the defense, and keeps going. Lower the shoulder for the contact. Look at this shit.
Teddy Bridgewater coming to the crib. I like this. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of activity going on in the QBs. Ben, let's quickly break down some of the big ones. Deshaun going to Cleveland, I think that's obviously been the talk of, many online and sports pundits and analysts, just because of the whole situation going on with with now his civil lawsuit. Before it was a criminal lawsuit.
I've always been hands-on in the community of Houston, back home in Gainesville, back home in Clemson, and that's what I want to do.
Criminal charges being placed, the jury found him not guilty, and now is still the civil suit. How is it that I think what made it worse was the contract that Cleveland gave it to him? Not to say that if he played on the same contract, it would have made it any better, because it's still like, hey, you're still treating him like nothing has happened, or it's, hey, they didn't find him guilty, so it's like no harm, no foul. Like, no, there's still a lot of harm being happened, but I don't really want to talk so much about that. I want to talk more so about, because he's still a really good quarterback. Let's call it like this. He is still a fantastic quarterback. Regardless of how shitty the Texans were for a while, like he was still a very good quarterback. And now in an offense that features Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Njoku, a good offensive line. The defense still looks solid. There are rumors that they possibly could bring back Jarvis Landry and Davion Clowney. Cleveland, giving up 6 picks is a lot, but when you're getting getting
Ricky Williams in return, it's totally fine.
That's 8 picks. All right.
That was 8 picks.
Yeah, that was 8 picks. The Deshaun situation, I think, obviously has been talked about, but Ben, could Deshaun Watson, because you look at that division, the AFC North, you have Mitchell Trubisky.
Spoken. That first down goes to Ridley once again. Here's our MVP voting, Mitchell Trubisky, 49% of the vote.
Now the starting quarterback for the Steelers. You have Joe Burrow, still, now with protection.
And look at Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr.
He was doing crazy things before without protection, getting sacked 9 times a game. Now he's probably going to get sacked all of 2 times with the amount of, investment in that offensive line. Cleveland obviously has Deshaun now, and the Ravens have Lamar.
Something's in my ass.
This is a very interesting quarterback room in the AFC North. How much of an impact does Deshaun make with the Cleveland Browns, and is it so much so that are we looking at Cleveland as now potential Super Bowl favorites?
Yeah, and they're really creating a great culture there. They also got a new running backs coach. I don't know if you know, OJ Simpson.
Hey, Twitter world, this is yours truly.
Look, besides my personal beliefs, the fact that they backloaded the contract and how they only spoke to him about about the thing for 30 minutes, and they didn't interview any of the women, and I don't even want to talk about it because it's been so overblown, and I think most people kind of agree that what happened was wrong. Let's just get into the football aspect of it, I guess. As much as I actually kind of enjoy Baker Mayfield a little bit, This is an upgrade. This is a very big upgrade.
No, this is a fantastic upgrade for
This
Cleveland.
is a fantastic upgrade. This is going from like a Kia Soul to probably, you know, like a Rolls Royce of a quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A quarterback that doesn't have many flaws in his game. When playing top 7 at least. I don't even like to do rankings like that, but I think that's almost consensus. Of course, there are questions. You know, how game shape is he? How many games is he going to be suspended? You know, what are they going to do about the center position? They did release J.C. Treader. You know, are they going to worry about maybe some of the tread on the offensive line? Yes, they've kind of been together for a while, but it has been a while. You know, you have Joel Bitonio getting into his 30s. You have other parts of that line getting up there in age. And, you know, let's put aside all the questions and say that they now have the best quarterback in that division. I think when at their apex, I like Joe Burrow. I don't think anyone doesn't like Joe Burrow. And I've been
but it's fair to say that in terms of rankings, Joe Burrow I think is second, but
really?
I think he's second.
You don't take Joe Burrow over Lamar Jackson?
Yes. Deshaun is first. Don't get me wrong. Deshaun is first. Joe Burrow's second. Lamar's third. Because the thing is also, yes, we can talk about the weapons around him haven't been great, but it's also been the same issues that we've seen. Like Joe Burrow gets sacked 9 times and he still wins a game. Yes, he has T. Higgins. Yes, he has Jamar Chase. Yes, he has Joe Mixon. Like he has he has great offensive talent around him. Lamar has a decent offensive line, decent weapons, and somehow he can either not get into the playoffs, or if he does, he gets bounced.
The bouncing I can get, but last year, he was 8-3, and then he got
he was injured.
But I think, all right, let's get back to the actual question. So yes, we can agree who the top 3, and then the 1,000 feet of crap, and then who's number 4. This is a huge improvement. Let's not argue. This is a scale tipping improvement in my opinion. You know, I don't know. Maybe just because it's the Browns, something will fuck up. Maybe, but this is. They don't have to worry about their quarterback anymore unless rust is that bad, which I'm sure it is. But yeah, look, I like what they did. I like the move in theory.
Yeah,
I won't say anything about the situation, but in theory, it's a great move.
No, yes, it is. Let's move on. I think an underrated pickup has been so far in the quarterback carousel that has happened has been the Matt Ryan to Indiana. I know it's just recently happened. I know it's getting a lot of praise, but I don't feel like a lot of people know. Like Matt Ryan, regardless of the record in Atlanta, is still a very serviceable and a very good quarterback. And I think a lot of people take that for granted just because they look at the record and it's like, Matt Ryan's past his peak. Yeah, he is deteriorating a little bit because he is 37, but Indiana, I think, got a stud of a quarterback. Now it's just getting weapons around him. We talked about Russell Wilson, more in depth in an AFC West video. So if that goes out before this video, you guys have already seen it. But if not, you guys will see us talk about Russell Wilson. But that's still a good pickup for the Broncos. But for me, I think the most interesting move has been a non-move, and that is the Garoppolo situation, because I feel like there was a lot of teams that could have vied for his signature, and I feel like there's a lot of teams that probably were offering a second or a third, and for whatever reason it just didn't go through, or if they were offering, it wasn't to the San Francisco's liking that probably needs and a quarterback need that they have. You look at Carolina with the Panthers. I think you probably could look at, before Marcus Mariota signed with the Falcons, possibly, maybe one of the New York teams could take them. How confident are you with, Daniel Jones, even though, you have a new head coach and Brian Dable, but you could see still quarterback competition. Why not? He's on his last year of his contract. Even if he's riding the bench, whatever. Same thing with Zach Wilson. Sit him on the bench for a year. Same thing that they're doing with Trey Lance. There's a lot of. I feel there was probably a lot of moves that they could have done Indiana was even being talked about, but I feel like it's been an interesting non-developing story that should be more developed, because Garoppolo isn't the best quarterback, but I think even if for one season, just to be a bridge quarterback for, let's say, a Zach Wilson, he's doing that for Trey Lance now, for a Zach Wilson, possibly Carolina if they're, targeting maybe a Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis in the draft, or even Pittsburgh, for example. If that could have happened, and done something like that. But it's been interesting to see that, not really develop as much as I thought it would actually develop into.
Right. I mean, look, I think there was kind of, in my opinion, and how I've seen it was, okay, Baker wasn't available. It was obvious Jimmy was going to get traded. It was obvious that was the idea.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield wasn't available. Matt Ryan wasn't available. It was very cold on Deshaun Watson because, remember, Carolina was leading. Before Miami, or after Miami, it was Carolina that was really into it. They blew a lead.
Right.
Atlanta blew a lead. And then you had Cleveland, who came back in because they were told that they were out. Now they were back in.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I told him I heard it was because of a weather situation. Like he was fuck, Cleveland. It's way too warm, too cold. But honestly, out of those 4 teams, like that was probably the best overall team. But yeah, no. I think that's been a very non-developing story in my opinion. Look, even if you look at the Seahawks, I know interdivision rivals, but
they have Drew Lock. They don't need anyone.
Drew Lock has a horse cock. Yeah, let's go! Let's get this shit! Let's go! I
mean, look, they're being talked about with Baker Mayfield, so I don't know how much. I'm sure they probably might rather have Garoppolo than Baker Mayfield, which let's get into real quick. Obviously, now with Deshaun, moving in, I'm sure that's going to be a whole progressive thing. Deshaun moving in, Baker Mayfield moving out. They're gonna come with something.
The next commercial is just gonna have an eviction notice.
It's gonna be a for sale sign. You just see Deshaun Watson like ripping it out. But let's talk about Baker Mayfield, because the situation I think has technically boiled down to him hoping that Seahawks actually are interested, because from what I've heard and what I've seen, Carolina isn't, and so he might just get outright waived. Which is going to be a very interesting situation where he could end up at.
It's not the first time a Browns quarterback gone wave. Am I right, Johnny Manziel? All right, let's move on.
I mean, think about it. I mean, even when we look at the Texans, like David Mills is not going to be moved. It's not going to be replaced because they like him. They do believe. Yeah. So, I mean, does he try to? If he gets waived, does he try to outplay Marcus Mariota? I don't think so. After them giving him a $16 million contract, a 2-year, $60 million, I don't think you do that for backup. I mean, yeah, you do kind of pay like a 1-year, $10 million for a veteran, but I mean, I don't know if you do that with.
That was very.
It could be a Jameis Winston situation, to be honest.
Right. I mean, look. I have a couple notes for the Browns on this one, but I do want to talk to Baker in a little bit. But I have a couple notes for the Browns on this one. Why are you asking for a first-round pick for Baker Mayfield?
No, he's not.
No one's going to give you that. Just because you gave up like
the same
8
draft
to get someone who is still in civil suits does not mean that you're entitled to one. This is not the insurance that he was pushing. This is like seriously.
I'm pretty sure Baker Mayfield was in that same draft, because I remember reading reports. He was in 2018 draft, right?
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield. That was the same draft that I remember, because I think Cleveland had the number 1, and they were like kind of contemplating on who to take at that position, and I think Baker was like the surprise, like that shot up in that, because Baker was being looked at as like, yeah, he's a top 10 pick, but he's not. Or top 15, but he's not going. Like, no one thought he was going to be first. I think a lot of people thought like Saquon was going to be first. If
I think the argument for quarterback, I think at that time, was what, Josh Allen versus Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I think Sam Darnold was looked at as the best quarterback in that draft, and Josh Rosen.
Run the juice down, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be an interesting situation with Baker Mayfield. I think the only place that he really like legitimately ends up as a starting quarterback is the Seahawks.
I'm not done with my Baker Mayfield. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
This is you fucking puss. Stay at home with Baker Mayfield because that's where you're gonna be if they're not gonna trade you for a first round pick, which is garbage anyway.
Oh my god. All right, we're done. That's it. Let us know in the comment section down below where Baker's gonna end up, and you know what's been the best offseason move in terms of quarterback wise, and you know who's been an underrated one. Let us know in the comment section down below. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.